if you could tell from the last video, I'm pretty impatient when it comes to my collection. Well, maybe it's not necessarily impatient, maybe it's enthusiastic. Like, I'm always waiting for the next thing to drop, and I know it could be like months in between before I finally get something that's suitable for my collection. Some things in particular just don't get any love. It gets very minimal love, you know? And so one of the things that actually kind of gets on my nerves is the fact that they haven't released certain characters from Generation 1 that are pretty important. So when something like that happens and I feel like, well, I'd like to finish up my collection, especially back in the day. Now today, it's a lot different. The landscape is much different than it was before, because now we're actually getting things that look a lot closer to what it was back in the Generation 1 anyway. We're starting to get things that look a lot more like the cartoon, toys with better articulation and engineering into the transformations and whatnot since back in 1984. But there's a group of characters that have been acknowledged but never have been like worked on. So when I find something that's very similar to what I'm looking for, I'll try to repurpose it or try to find a place for it in my collection that actually fits. I'll use it as a stand-in. Now back in the day, this is something that I could get away with more because like the characters were kind of very loose and very stylized to the point where it's like they kind of really didn't represent the actual characters. So I'm starting to see that there's some cracks that are showing inside this idea of repurposing or substituting, you know, for my collection. So off to the left we have Goldbug, and he is actually a release that came from the Worlds Collide or Creatures Collide pack. He's perfect as a representation of Goldbug as well as being a licensed Volkswagen Beetle. So I love this figure. If Hasbro continues to make Throttlebots and this is what they're going to follow, they're going to follow this mini-bot formula, I'm for it because I'd like this Goldbug to continue being a part of my collection. I really dig this figure. I also dig the Bumblebee version that I have now, which is that Volkswagen version from the Walmart exclusive retro line. That yellow is perfect. The yellow that came out with the Netflix version, I hate that school bus orange. It's a terrible decision on Hasbro to make it that color. I don't know why they chose it, but I'm happy that the retro reissue exists. So that's my Goldbug. Next to him is my Chase figure. And this Chase figure actually comes from the original Earthrise Cliff Jumper mold. As you can see, it's the black and red Cliff Jumper with the transparent windows. I always thought Chase looked like Cliff Jumper in the first place, so this kind of really fits what I'm looking for. Next to that we have Wide Load. Wide Load is using all the components from the Huffer that I had. Didn't make my Huffer have any of these accessories, so I just threw them all on top of this particular Huffer, or this particular Huffer mold that suits my Wide Load figure, which is a dump truck. All of these components look way better for a dump truck than it did for a flatbed. So I like that. He's good. The character on the right of him is supposed to be my roll bar. This is actually a character that came, I believe it was Hardtop. He came from the Cybertron line. He was reissued as a Transformers Michael Bay movies. Supposed to be like an updated version of a character from that movie. I don't know. It was really weird. Like when Michael Bay's movies started coming out, the Transformers started taking on all kinds of different roles. They started taking characters from different lines and repainting them and adding different sculpt to it. I don't know, it's really weird, but this one has a Cybertron key and that telescoping rifle, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna come out with something way better than this. I don't expect this to be my final roll bar, but as it is right now, he's my stand-in. To the right of that, we have Searchlight. I was actually pretty impressed with this particular white Cliff Jumper. I was thinking to myself, well, if I could locate these little headlights, you know, at a model shop or on top of another vehicle, I would cut them off and glue them to the front of this white vehicle, because I actually do like the way this vehicle looks in place of the Searchlight figure, so I'm actually happy with that. And then to the right, this is probably the one that needs a new paint job. It's supposed to be Freeway? The blue Corvette, I believe he is. It's supposed to be like tracks. Anyway, repainting this guy blue would give it a better look. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, the figures that I have here for my repurpose, my substitutes, they're not bad. And even in robot mode, they look pretty good. You know what? I'll go ahead and change them into robot mode real quick, just so you guys can get an idea of what they look like. So as you can see inside the robot modes, the real odd man out is the roll bar character that I do have standing in from the Cybertron line. He does stick out like a sore thumb. He is approximately the same height He does have different engineering. It's more simple, so it really does stand out. But the rest of these characters, I mean, they really do a really good job at fitting into the stand-in anyway, the repurpose of Throttlebot. So if we never get a Throttlebot other than Goldbug here, then I guess this is what my Throttlebot group is going to look like. I mean, is it ideal? No. But at least it's something that I can have as a placeholder or a substitute to show that these characters are in existence in the collection. So this one is much more rough when it comes to repurposes, only because it looks so similar to other characters pre-movie. I'm using the mold for Wheeljack. If I had found the Run-Amok figure, I would have used him as my stand-in, but unfortunately all I have is this Wheeljack body with the exhaust head standing in for this particular figure. I have the Road Rage figure on the very right hand side, and she is going to be a stand-in, as well as Crosscut. I think Crosscut to me looks the closest to the character that I'm trying to stand in, and if you guys haven't figured it out, these three characters are supposed to be the Omnibots. So Hasbro hasn't even mentioned anything about the Omnibots. Now I was collecting the Transformers trading card game cards because the art on top of those things are spectacular. And while I was collecting them, I did notice that the Omnibots were some of the cards that you could get in the trading card game. So I'm like, Hasbro, they know that these characters are there, and they know that these things need to be updated. And for me, this is the closest that it gets, you know. The Crosscut figure, the face is pretty close to the face of, what's his name, Camshaft? So that's pretty cool. The Road Rage character is supposed to be covering for Overdrive. And then, of course, the Wheeljack is supposed to be making up or standing in for Downshift. So this character is actually supposed to be replacing my original substituted character. I originally respray painted a Mirage figure. I believe it was a Combiner Wars Mirage. I repainted him and dug out I made a hole inside of his pilot seat so I could fit this little Headmaster character inside. And then I repainted the Headmaster to look more like the character Slapdash. So my Power Master Slapdash ended up being a Headmaster Slapdash, and for me it was no big deal because at the time everyone was becoming, during the Titans Return line, everyone was becoming a Headmaster, so it really didn't matter. So when I was purchasing exclusive characters from Amazon, this character actually popped up, and I believe it's a Generation 2 character, but I'm not collecting Generation 2. So I thought to myself, well, it's an F1 Formula Racer. It's yellow and blue, just like Slapdash. So I decided to take that one that I spray painted, and I removed that as my stand-in, and I put this one in its place. So now this figure, I just have to find like some kind of I don't know, Titan Master or something like that to go on top of this figure so that it makes it more of a Power Master figure, because he needs his partner. Right now, currently, he's just the Generation 2 figure standing in a Slapdash, but Slapdash is missing his Power Master. When I had him repainted from the Combiner Wars figure, I actually had drilled a hole inside the top to create a place for the Headmaster. So the previous one had more playability, but this one actually, it looks nicer. I didn't have to really fiddle with any of the tooling to make it look gross. So yeah, this guy is actually taking part of my Power Master Slapdash. So the cement truck is Quick Mix from the Cybertron series, and he is actually standing in for the character Quick Mix. I know Quick Mix in the Generation 1 is a red cement truck, but can't really be a chooser when I'm begging for this figure to appear on my shelf. So he's a stand-in for himself in the Generation 1 line, and he has a couple of stand-in Target Masters as well for his dual Target Master wielding. And we have Landfill here, who is actually a Junkion that is being repurposed as his character. And we do also have a couple of stand-in Target Masters for him as well. So here we have Combiner Wars Inferno, and I have him standing in as my Hosehead. I do have the Skytread Headmaster standing in for the Hosehead Headmaster because it looks so similar, like the Headmaster looked like the Hosehead, so repainted that red and gray. Added some gray paint to his chest, and voila! There's my stand-in for Hosehead. The Infernal body, I believe, is just a recolor of the Hotspot figure, which was a pretty sky blue color, which I really liked. I'm hoping that Hasbro actually makes the truck look a little bit more similar to how he looked in Generation 1 and less like this elongated truck thing. But there is one particular character that I am standing in for him twice, if that makes any sense. So he actually had 2 figures released. He had his body and his headmaster released separately. So I had to do some surgery and some changes on these figures to make it work. But basically, Nightbeat is my stand-in for Nightbeat. It's just really boggles my brain. Like, they released a Nightbeat, I believe this is the Thrilling 30s Nightbeat, and they released in the Titan Returns line another Nightbeat figure, but it was just the head. So of course the fandom, the community, they found a way to create this little thing that you could jack into the neck of this figure to make it Headmaster compatible. So I was able to take the Nightbeat figure and modify his neck. I didn't actually buy the modification piece that was needed. I just went ahead and cut some plastic and made it fit, you know, used an X-Acto knife and trimmed around it until the head stuck in there. But basically, yeah, I mean, in order to get Nightbeat to sit inside his own character's neck, there had to be some modifications done. And it's kind of sad that we couldn't get a full body for Nightbeat. Instead, we're left to modify old figures. I mean, like, and you know what's another thing that's kind of irritating is the paint on the face of this Nightbeat Headmaster. It's slightly off when compared to the paint that they used on the figure. And it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. The Nightbeat figure from before was a Thrilling 30. I guess it's more stylized to the comics. But when you look at the Titan Master's body, they went and changed the face more orangey, yet the body is more yellow, and the body on the old Thrilling 30 figure is kind of this fluorescent yellow color that matches the body of the Headmaster more. It's really weird. And even the blue for the head, the blue is like this darker blue, meanwhile the body is this lighter blue. I don't know. It's just, they could have helped us out and just made them the same kind of colors. I mean, as it is, it's fine. Like, it looks okay. But you know, these small things might irritate others. Now, to that respect, I also, since I had the, I think it was Gold Blaster. Anyways, supposed to be a Goldbug version repaint of this Nightbeat figure. And so what ended up happening, because I had that Goldfire character, I removed that head and I put another port, modified it to accept the Headmasters, and I put the Decepticon Horrible, his Headmaster, inside there because his Headmaster was this gold and blue color, and it, for some reason, that ended up matching better than the Nightbeat figure with the Headmaster. I don't know, it's so weird. So the gold and the blue on this Horrible Headmaster matched the gold and the blue on top of this Goldfire figure. So I was like, why not? I just went ahead and switched them out. But yeah, it's not necessary anymore to have this replacement figure. I actually took this substitute off of my collection shelf because recently Hasbro has done that 4-pack that has a body and a Headmaster for Horrible. I'm much more happier with that, of course, than this, and that's exactly what I'm waiting for. I'm using these characters to stand in until a better one comes along, and if it doesn't, then at least I have something sitting there in the wings, right? Now, these aren't the only characters that I have as stand-ins. There are a bunch more. These are just the ones that I was able to grab hold of, and I wanted to basically just talk about the Throttlebots and the Omnibots most of all, because those are kind of like characters that I hear a lot of collectors talking about, and it's something that I'm hoping that Hasbro will hurry up and produce. I do have higher hopes that the Throttlebots will be produced much quicker than the Omnibots, because we've already seen Goldbug, we've already seen the Chase figure released during the Power of the Primes line, but he was that really small Legends class one. So Hasbro providing at least a couple of small little bones that are thrown, it brings hope to the fact that these characters will be completed sooner rather than later. As for the Omnibots, I have no idea, man. The Omnibots, the Autobot Dual Target Masters, and the Autobot Headmaster Juniors, like, these characters for some reason, it's just, they haven't really been on the priority list of Hasbro's at all. Like, it seems like they just want to be doing the Decepticons, and I don't know if it's because Decepticons sell better, or if it's because the fandom likes the Decepticons more, or if just that their alt modes are just way more interesting, or if it's just cheaper to produce these characters because they can find things that are similar. But like I said, I'm just being impatient, you know. I just want to have my collection. And then, you know, I think part of this repurposing and substituting initially happened because as newer figures were coming out, I was able to replace the older ones, you know, and the older lines, and of course scale and everything is changing, and I hear about new stuff coming out. I think to myself, well, what am I going to use all these other things that I have in my collection for? Like this Inferno, like what would I use him for? Because originally I had the Universe 2.0 Inferno as my main Inferno. Like I love that figure. He was my main guy, and once they released this new Combiner Wars Inferno, I was like, well, this guy's nice and tall too. Maybe I'll replace him with that. But Hasbro never really released anything on the lines of grapple. So now I have this tall, lanky red Inferno and no grapple to accompany it because I got this massively wide Solar Storm Grapple instead, you know? And it's like when they announced the Earthrise, the Kingdom, they had Inferno and grapple inside those lines. I was excited. But once those figures released, I realized that those things were way undersized. Like the characters could have been taller, and the car modes could have definitely have been much bigger. That fire truck and that crane, completely undersized. There's no way that those things are going to match up with Optimus Prime or any other of the bigger, larger trucks. So I do have to say that I'm happy that I took the Inferno, kind of hollowed out his neck area so that the Headmaster can fit, and then of course gave him a weapon so that the Headmaster can sit in it when he's in truck mode. But yeah, repurposing and substituting, you know, it's just something that I've been doing because of all these extra figures that have been coming either with the 2-packs or just something that I've been like moving on from my collection because I got a new thing, right? And yeah, I always feel like something can be altered a little to make it fit into my collection until it finally gets an actual release. So Hasbro, hey, totally waiting for you to finish up these Throttlebots. I've heard, I can't remember who the guy is, Evan or something, had said that there are heads of the Throttlebots that were put into some Bumblebee mold, and that's cool, that's awesome and all. But can we get those things made already? Is it cool? I mean, like if all it takes is for you to pour plastic into one head instead of the other and change up the colors, then by all means, man, get them out there. Like what's keeping you from doing it? Finish up these Throttlebots, let's go. And then the Omnibots, can you guys just like please get those started? But other than that, I do see the finishing of the dual target masters, the Headmaster Juniors. I do see those characters starting to slowly trickle out, and that makes me happy. I like knowing that those characters are finally getting done. I don't have to substitute like like I said, this quick mix from the Cybertron line and this Trash Master or whatever his name from the Junkion set, you know? It's not necessary anymore. You can actually just use the characters that are meant to have them, and that would be great. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, reissues and repurposes. Does anybody else do those kinds of things, or just me? Or yeah, let me know. Drop a comment in the comment section. Other than that, let's keep churning them out, Hasbro. Keep them coming. All right, till next time. Peace.